Hey, what's up, you guys? Bloody Jacob here to give you my thoughts on Rebel Moon Chapter 1, Chalice of Blood, which is the director's cut of the first Rebel Moon film, Child of Fire, which came out a couple years ago, the original cut, anyhow. And I was actually a fairly big fan of that one in the first place. I'm a big fan of Zack Snyder in general. There's a very weird discourse around Zack Snyder on the internet. You either love him or you hate him, it seems. There's no in between at all. And those that do or don't, they just go to war with each other. Okay, I've seen both sides of it. You have the people who love it getting talked down to for liking movies, and you have the people who don't like it, getting insulted as well, and you have those in the middle, and there's just become this weird discourse around just enjoying films or not. So by all means, don't do that here. If you do, be prepared because you're gonna get clapped back. But please, let's just try to keep it mature here, guys. They're movies. We're all supposed to like different things. I personally really enjoyed the director's cut here. It is longer, of course, at about 3.5 hours, so it is an undertaking, even for someone that really enjoys it. But I thought it was excellent. It adds this whole new opening scene with Ed Skrein's character, our favorite intergalactic Nazi, essentially, right? I already really liked him as the villain in the original cut and what we've seen with part 2. I will put my thoughts out there about the part 2 director's cut as well before too long, by the way. But this opening scene really just cements that, for me, he's one of those hateable or hateful memorable villains we've gotten in a movie in a long time, especially big movies. And for me, a big part of why I love Rebel Moon from the get-go, even with just the PG-13 cut, is because it essentially felt like Star Wars for me. Now, I like Star Wars to an extent. I'm not obsessed with it. I never have been. But Rebel Moon, Zack Snyder's take on this sort of world and these sorts of stories, it's very much more tailored to me. Even PG-13, it feels more violent, it feels more in the grid of it, you know what I mean? The characters are a little bit darker and everything, all around anyway. And I think he created a really deep, rich lore for himself too. And I said this in my original review too. It reviews, it has its influences, and it wears them on its sleeve. Okay, he's not hiding what it's inspired by, but I think he really created his own here, and it separates pretty well for me. Again, I think Sofia Boutella here is great. Very strong performance. You have Nemesis here, who might actually be my second favorite character in the movie, at least between her and Ed Skrein for what he is. Dona does a very good job. Desmond Hanzo, I forget how to pronounce names apparently, as this kind of long lost scarred general. Is a good spot as well. I like Charlie Hunnam a lot. I do think they could have done more with his role. I still do. Michael Huisman as Gunner, I still don't really care for him in this cut, honestly. Not a bad actor. I've seen him in Game of Thrones, of course, Nashville, Haunting of Hill House, and some other things. But for me, something's just really off of his performance in this movie, especially his delivery of some of the lines when they initially descend on the village and they make some statements, let's say. Some of his delivery just feels really fake. I think he's probably the weakest in terms of the main characters, but it doesn't really hurt the movie at all. Of course, you have the great Anthony Hopkins as Jimmy, the robot, and he's become the symbol for the franchise per se, which is pretty cool. And again, I just love the movie. The violence of it, the blood, both CG and otherwise, and what practical is in there, looks really good. People complain about Zack Snyder's slow-mo usage all the time, maybe. But for me, I like the way he carries action scenes. I think there are phenomenal action scenes in this movie. For me, it carries with the flow and the momentum of every shot he goes with for it. And it really gives you time to actually take in what's happening and, see the breadth of it. And, it feels like you're in it and not just rushing through bam, 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 go, go, go. I think it gives him his own flair, and some people don't like it, but others complain about it in a way that's not really what it is that's on screen. But yeah, I loved the director's cut. The showdown between Kara and Skrein's Noble is still one of my favorite fights in an action film in a long time. I am going to be counting this for my 2024 ranking, by the way, because it is a separate cut and it did release this year. So I'll be counting that, the original version of Part 2, and as well as the director's cut of Part 2. So it's going to be a Rebel Moon filled list. But yeah, what you guys thought about this one? Did you like it more than the PG-13 version? Do you still hate both? Do you actually enjoy the films like I do as well? I honestly give it like an AA plus. I love this, even though again it's an undertaking, and there is probably a version that could still be R-rated, but maybe not 3.5 hours long. But I still think this is a massive treat. So hopefully with Part 3 and whatever they have follow, they kind of just do R-rated and have it be as true of a cut as he wants right away, instead of Netflix just trying to force him to make multiple versions. But yeah, let me know what you guys thought. Follow me on TikTok, of course, Twitter, Instagram.